Okay, moving on in the trig textbook, we're going to show you how to do these right here. Okay, they are in the book. These are a little bit confusing. You've never done this before. Okay, what you're doing, you're not given substitution amounts for the variables, yet you still have to, it says solve each formula for the given variable. So you're solving for r in this one. You got to get the lowercase r by itself. Now, you look on the side of the equation that has the r, and you got to know what your operation. So p is multiplied by the parentheses, 1 is being added, and then r is being multiplied by t. Now, if I have a parentheses, the first thing I need to do is not multiply, don't distribute. Okay, you're wasting your time. Not because I don't know what that number is. I'm going to do the opposite of multiply, which is divide by the factor outside the parentheses, which will cancel that. And now I have a divided by p. So I now have a divided by p. And now the parentheses can go away. And it's 1 minus r, or plus r multiplied by t. Okay, now that's done. Now, you are going to circle the portion that is multiplication. And then whatever's outside, you need to add or subtract. So I'm going to subtract 1. So now I have a divided by p, and the minus 1 goes after the fraction. Don't put it up there with the a. Equals r multiplied by t. Okay, now I'm into my last step. I undo the multiplication of t by dividing by t. And now the r is by itself. It is equal to a divided by p minus 1, all divided by t. Okay, the next one, f equals mv to the second for r. Now, whenever the variable you're solving for is on the bottom of a ratio, okay, which r is, you're going to make another ratio with a 1 in the denominator, and you are going to multiply using cross products. You're going to go f times r, that's fr. You can just put just put fr. And then 1 times anything is just itself. So taking this times 1 means it'll just be mv to the second. Okay, so that's how to handle it if it's in a parentheses with a factor outside. This is how to handle it if it's in a ratio on the denominator. Even if it's in the numerator, you do the same thing pretty much. Okay, so I'm trying to solve for r, so I'm going to circle the multiplication part. I don't have to add or subtract anything like I did up here with that 1, okay? I go into the division. Now remember, I'm trying to get the r by itself, so I need to divide by the f. And now r is isolated. mv to the second divided by f. Okay, the next one. PV equals nRT, solving for t this time. Well, I don't have any parentheses, I don't have any ratios, so I'm looking at my multiplication part of it, and it's actually a 3-factor product. Now, I don't have to add, I don't have to subtract, okay, because there's nothing outside of that product. Now, I just divide by the factors that are multiplied by the t, which should be the lowercase n and the capital R. And now t is by itself. We have dv over nr. Okay, the last problem, we're solving for r this time. Once again, r is on the bottom of a ratio, so we're going to underline that, put a 1. That's an S error, it's not a 5. If it was a 5, I'd be doing something else. Now, with these ratios, when we made it into ratios here, there were no adding or subtracting operators, but here there's a subtraction, so we're going to put that in parentheses. Now, when I take S times the quantity 1 minus R, I don't want to actually multiply that. I'm going to write S times parentheses 1 minus R. So again, that's why it's important to get parentheses if you have plus or minus when doing ratios. And then 1 times A can just be A. Now we want to get rid of the parentheses, but we can't distribute, okay, because I have two variables in the distribution. So I'm going to then divide each side by the factor of s, and then the parentheses goes away. So we got 1 minus r equals a over s. Okay, now normally there's a part in time now where I circle my multiplication operation, but I don't have it. Okay, I have to get this 1 out of here though by subtracting. Now you're just about there, but your r is a negative. So what you do, you make it positive, and then this a over s goes negative, and this 1 goes positive. So I have negative a over s plus 1. Okay, that is a little bit confuzzling. Basically, to summarize, when you have a parentheses with a variable outside, variable inside, you're not going to distribute. You're going to divide by that. Parentheses goes away. Then dot, where you have multiplication, circle it. If you have anything outside of that, you add or subtract. Then you divide by the factors that are multiplied by that variable. Remember, if you have a ratio, especially a ratio where the letter you're trying to get by itself is on the bottom, you put it over 1 like that. Okay, remember to put parentheses if you have addition or subtraction within the ratio. Okay, no adding, subtracting, so you just divided by it. Okay, and then the same idea here. Okay, it's a little bit of a challenge because you've never done it before, so do the back side and see how it goes.